Because you asked for it, today we'll be revisiting the evolution of the Haunted Mansion Holidays gingerbread houses, adding the ones that we missed since 2019. We would like to thank Ridge for sponsoring this video. Use our link, ridge.com/ducksquad, to get up to 40% off of your purchase through December 22nd. We've tried a lot of different wallets over the years, but the Ridge wallet is by far the greatest. It's slim and lightweight, making it ideal for trips to theme parks when you don't want to lug around a large wallet. You can even carry cash in addition to the 12 cards that it holds. We can't say enough good things about the material and craftsmanship of the wallet. And if you carry a lot of keys, they have a great key case that can help you keep your keys organized and under control. You have to use our link, ridge.com/ducksquad. Check it out. 2001. This house depicted the Haunted Mansion itself as a hungry monster. A toothy mouth and long arms dominated this design. Nestled together in the yard were tombstones and ghosts erupting from the ground. It even had an Oogie Boogie lookalike coming from out the graveyard. 2002. Instead of a toothy monster, the Gingerbread Haunted Mansion this year was made out of stacks of presents. 3 jack-o'-lanterns topped the structure, just like in the real mansion. Before the video ends, let us know in the comments which is your favorite gingerbread house, and be sure to look for the hidden Oogie Boogie. 2003. This was a really abstract house based on one of the final scenes of Nightmare Before Christmas. We could see a huge Oogie Boogie spinning around. He stood balancing some dice on one of his feet, a cup of treats in one of his hands, and a small version of the mansion in the other. But look out, as he spun, a string on his leg got caught and unwound, exposing his buggy innards. 2004. In 2004, Zero spent his time in the spotlight with his own gingerbread house. He had a doggy bowl filled with ghost dog biscuits, bones, and kitty cat pie, and used to appear floating around his doghouse looking for his next delicious treat. 2005. Christmas wreath on the loose. This pulled inspiration from when Jack gave a monstrous wreath to children for Christmas, and it unfurled its arms to cause chaos. The Haunted Mansion was again recreated with gingerbread, but this time the huge man-eating Christmas wreath was seen in the front, covering the whole mansion, holding multiple utensils and waving them around. Maybe someone should feed him. 2006. This year, the Haunted Mansion Holiday Imagineers started incorporating more animation in their gingerbread houses. This house showed all manner of creatures trying to break out of the mansion. There were giant zombie hands crashing through the roof as they went. Snakes and tentacles broke apart the building or slithered between the windows. The movement in this house was pretty impressive. 2007. It's a Jack-in-the-Box. Get it? This gingerbread house showed Jack and 2 pumpkins coming out of the top of the mansion, as the crank on the side spinned and moved. A few gingerbread zombies below looked up in awe. 2008. Usually, coffins wouldn't be allowed at the dinner table, but an exception was made in 2008. A group of gingerbread skeletons had a celebration of life below a massive coffin. When the coffin's lid opened, you could see a skeleton gingerbread man that had been sliced in half. This was super creepy and elaborate. 2009. It's a ride within a ride. This gingerbread house was much more child-friendly than the previous years, and depicted a carousel decorated in bats, skulls, spiderwebs, and pumpkins. In this scary go-round, Zero appeared as one of the animals adorned with a little purple saddle. The rest of the animals were bone deers. 2010. This one took a more literal approach, as a dramatized version of Haunted Mansion Holiday's exterior. Curled trees and pumpkins on pedestals were scattered across the lawn, and the signature clock spun around. In his Sandy Claus outfit, Jack loomed over the mansion with outstretched fingers. 2011. Another toothy mansion, but this time its mouth was split across the middle of the facade. This house was super impressive and used to open and close its mouth. As its mouth opened, a striped tongue inside waggled around wildly. Despite its menacing appearance, the outer fence around the property was made of smiling, traditional gingerbread men. 2012. This gingerbread house took a turn away from a version of the Haunted Mansion to a version of Jack Skellington's house in Halloween Town.
Even a gingerbread house can be scary, so we always kind of keep a house. This is Jack's house from Halloween Town, and how Jack's house would look as if it was covered in snow.
Lit jack-o'-lanterns lined the stairs leading up to Jack's front door, and Zero flew around the very top of the house's tower. This house took advantage of the Pepper's ghost illusion in the ballroom to add the illusion of a train riding around the table. The Terror Train included an engine, a coal car, a flatbed car carrying a giant cupcake, and a caboose. The entire structure was built around steel beams to add support for the upwards of 600 pounds of gingerbread used. 2013. 2013's gingerbread house was an advent calendar mausoleum with 13 doors, ending in a Jack Skellington face for the final day. Every Friday, a door would be opened on the mausoleum, revealing a Jack cookie inside. This house was the largest gingerbread house that Imagineers had built at the time, at 8 feet wide and 13 feet tall. 2014. This house may not have been as big as the one from the previous year, but it made up for that in creativity. 2014's was a depiction of the Haunted Mansion as an Iron Maiden. This house had a zombie gingerbread man inside. The doors open and closed, showing the spikes which were made out of sharpened candy canes. The zombie would shake back and forth at his impending doom. 2015. A group of gingerbread zombies was put to work this year. They were building a haunted mansion made of cards, and guests got to witness the construction of this house of cards. It doesn't look very structurally sound. Maybe that's why it only lasted a year. 2016. In 2016, the gingerbread mansion was made out of a different material, but it's still under construction. This gingerbread house referenced 2 characters, one from The Nightmare Before Christmas and the other from the Haunted Mansion. We could see that the mansion was still being sewn together with pieces of fabric that referenced Sally, who incidentally appeared at the ride for the first time in 2016.
For 2016, our new touch in the graveyard is Jack's girlfriend, Sally. As guests passed through the graveyard, they passed by Jack Skellington in his Santa Claus outfit, and then they move on to see Sally resting on a tombstone, kicking her leg up, and she's just looking right past the gate, trying to catch a glimpse of her man, Jack.
But who was sewing the mansion back together? Well, that would be the bricklayer, one of the ghosts from the Haunted Mansion who appears at the end of the cemetery. 2017. Oogie Boogie took over the Gingerbread Haunted Mansion this year, adding an assortment of creepy crawlies to the facade, and causing quite a fright to the gingerbread skeletons below. As the spiders on the front of the mansion spun, Oogie lifted a fork to his mouth to munch on a caterpillar. 2018. This time the mansion was in true peril. A giant gingerbread spider had descended from the ceiling to rip the house off its base to eat it. This gingerbread mansion had a lot of little details. Every shingle was shaped like a coffin, and a hidden Mickey was added on one of them. 2019. This one is particularly special since it honors the Haunted Mansion's 50th anniversary. That being said, the only inspiration it really takes from Nightmare Before Christmas is the crooked structure. A large lit wreath with the number 50 hangs above the entrance of the mansion, and familiar spooks can be seen fading in and out of the view around. 2021. We skipped 2020 because the park was closed due to the pandemic, so there was no gingerbread house. But Imagineers came back with full force for the 2021 season. And of course, they did because this year, the Haunted Mansion holiday turned 20. So they decided to pay homage to all the previous houses to celebrate their tradition. Some of the most obvious nods are 2009's Scary Go Round House, 2015's Gingerbread Card House, 2014's Gingerbread Zombie House, and the giant man-eating wreath house from 2005. And there were many other more subtle nods to the other houses. They also added a reminder of the anniversary in the pumpkin patch in front of the mansion, in the form of a remembrance wreath on an easel. In the middle is a tombstone-like representation of Jack's face, with a nod to his 20 years at the mansion. You can see all of the inspiration they took from past years. 2022. This year's gingerbread house is fun and on point with the characters it represents. For this season, Lock, Shock, and Barrel took over the house and are up to their old tricks. They are seen operating a guillotine atop the dining room table. But that's not all. Inside the guillotine, we see a cake, which is usually seen at the table in the ballroom scene. On each end of the house, we see Shock and Barrel holding a stick with a piece of cake on end, teasing the mansion's residents with it, pulling it away each time they get close. Not very fair to the lady who is only trying to blow out the candle. Another amazing gingerbread house. Did you find the hidden Oogie Boogie? We'll know when we've read your comments. And if you're craving more holiday content, be sure to watch this video about some very cool holiday-themed dark rides.